Hey, you guys, what's up? Yo, I almost had a rap in my spirit, and I don't even rap. I was like, when I was coming in, it's Thursday lunch bite, so I was like, we rolling how we rolling, doing what we do, because it's a special Q&A edition. Let's do it. It's Q&A special edition with Coach Dawn and Coach LaDondra. We are ready to serve you where you are needing it the most. Many of you are new to the group, and you have Big came in and we initially asked you some questions. Those questions that we ask, those are by intention, because we don't want you to just be joining a group that you feel like, oh, I'm just part of another group. We literally want you to be a part of a community that where we're serving one another and you are getting some help. And some of the questions in those is like related to a mentor and different things like that. And so there's a certain level of mentorship that we can provide here in the Facebook group for free. And then there's even deeper levels as we go into our different levels of coaching program. We have an initial one, which is Woke Insiders, where it has some interaction with the coaches and a lot of training in our portal where you can do the DIY, like if you're do it yourself kind of person and you're like, I just need to get my toes wet, then we have those. But then we have the other Woke Next Level, and Woke stands for Women Operating Kingdom Enterprises. We have that one to where, like, literally, you are accelerating your pace to get into your next level. And when I tell you that the ladies that are in these programs, especially Woke Next Level, they are like accelerating their results in months. It's like they're collapsing years into months and months into days, and the results that they're getting is just mind blowing. And really, a lot of times, and I'm just going to kind of group some things, and really, a lot of times we think that the problem that we see is the problem, and really, it's not the problem, it's a symptom of something else that really is that hasn't been addressed. And I'll tell you that when I look at, some of the things and the questions as you ladies are coming in, I'm gonna just throw out some really general ones that I'm seeing. I need a business mentor, financial consistency. We have things like overwhelm, time, different things like that. And so when you have those things, when you look at that, those are really the symptom. Those are the symptom, but there's really a root there that has not been addressed. And when we're working with our ladies in the Woke Next Level program and Woke Insiders, like literally what I will tell you is that it's like they're getting to they're understanding the root cause of what's happening. And once they understand the root cause of what's happening, then it's like, it wasn't even about needing a strategy. It wasn't about that it was fear. It wasn't that it was about, all these other things that we think it's about. It was really about that, hey, I had identity issues, or I had belief issues. I didn't really believe in the product that I had, or I really didn't understand what I was holding, or I didn't understand my own power and how to use it. When I think about something like that, I think about Thor and a lot of the other superheroes. Like, they have all this amazing power, but then it's like untamed power that they really don't know how to use. And then when you don't know how to use it, you'll try to fit into the crowd. I remember Superman trying to fit in with the crowd and be Clark Kent, I think it is, and he didn't fit well. His glasses all twisted. He's like all nerdy looking and all that. But when he came out, I'm sorry, Antoine, I love you in advance. But when he put on his Superman, he was fine. And Antoine, no, I felt that way. Um, and so, y'all, when we really come out of the shadows of who we think we need to be, and really step up and become who we've been called to be, like, people see us in a new light, in a light that we've been destined to be seen in. And so, while we're going along this, I just want to let you know, make sure that you're going ahead and you are putting your questions in the chat, because I'm going to talk through some things really quick. But if you have a question that has, like, you've been burning on your heart, and you're like, okay, I don't have anybody to talk to, I don't know where to go with things, I'm frustrated. I need help. Like all of that. Like this is your time to jump in. When you start in the middle of your list, you'll know what I'm talking about. Start in the middle of your list. Then that will really help you guys to we're here to help you guys. So make sure you just go ahead and start posting your questions in, and we'll be on the lookout for those questions there. Um, so back to what I was saying, Coach Don, do you have anything that you want to add about like untamed power or anything like that? And we're going to get into some of the things that I've seen or we've seen.
I just want to welcome everybody that's new to the group. We're so excited that you are here. I'm tagging you right now. That's why I'm looking down. So tagging our new members in because we really do want to pour into you ladies. And so we want you to engage and interact and really just bring the things that you're struggling with right now to this Q&A session. Y'all, this is free coaching right here for you. And so we want to just pour into you and make sure that you're getting what you need to level up in this season. Y'all, we're September 1st. It's crazy, right? So we're in the last quarter of the year. It's time, game on, right? If you have not seen the results that you're hoping to see this year, get in here, ask your question. Even if you're coming in later on the replay, that's okay. Hashtag replay and ask us your question. We'll be happy to pop in here and answer that for you. So just super excited you're here. And if you know of a woman who you've seen struggling, who needs to be in the group, right? Come on in, invite her, tag her in the group, invite her in the group, whatever needs to happen, because y'all, we're not supposed to do this alone. We're supposed to be in partnership with each other and with God as our guide. So we are super excited and ready to pour into you today with some questions that you have. So let's go.
Let's get into it. One thing that I want to say really quick as we are getting into it, I tried to be fancy like Coach Don, and I was about to let some of tag some of you wonderful ladies. Sorry, I can't be as cool as Coach Don right now. So, one thing that I
Got you.
will
I got you, girl.
thank you. One thing that I will say is that if you are in this group, you're in this group because you have been called to be a generational change agent. And what that means is that you recognize that you are the one who is supposed to take a stand to do something different. There are so many patterns that we have in our families and in our communities and so on and so forth. And some of those patterns they service, and a lot of them though they don't service. And when I really think about that, I think about there's a saying that says history repeats itself. And so if you don't really come to a awareness of what's going on and some of the things that you're dealing with and maybe how they could have affected some of your other family members, and you don't take that stance to break that cycle, then you'll continue to repeat yourself over and over again. And so, as generational change agents, you recognize that you're the one to make that stance to break that generational cycle and to pioneer a new path towards hope and possibility. And so, that's what you're here for. That's what we want to help you do, and that's why we're having this special Q&A segment. So, again, post your questions, and then we'll come back in and tag our names if you're coming in on the replay, like at Dawn Shannon, at LaDondra Hervey, and that'll help us to make sure that we do see your questions coming in. So the first one that I see right here, and I'm just reading these from literally just right off the cuff, and I have not read over any of them like to be like, oh, look, this is the answer. So the first thing is that someone is saying that they are having an issue. Their biggest struggle is understanding that God is allowing my gifts to make room for me, and then remaining focused and being obedient to the prompting of the Holy Spirit, trusting God. Girl, this is one of my favorite questions. When we start talking about gifts, woo, make me like that make me excited. I don't know. So you ready? You ready? And Dawn, if you whoever asked that question, we'll go back, and if you could tag them in on these few that we have,
Yep.
then that would be great. So okay, understanding that God is allowing my gifts to make room for me. first and foremost, I'm gonna call out a few things that hinder us from understanding, right? First and foremost, you really have to understand what your gift is. What I've noticed is that a lot of us are playing in somebody else's lane unintentionally. We think that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, but really in reality, we're doing what is comfortable. And so what is comfortable for us, it's throwing us out of our lane, and it's causing us to be in a position of struggle and strife. And I really got to stop focusing on what Coach Don is doing, because I'm. Let me. Is there a way I can close this thing right here? Um, Hold on, just a second. And then my alarm things is there. No, it's not. You look, I put you. It's not the. It's the comments. So anyway, the thing is recognizing your. Y'all can see the dynamics of our team. Um, it's understanding what your gift is, number one, and then you're stepping out of a place of comparison, and you stepping into a place of really tapping into the power of the Holy Spirit. And how do you tap into the power of the Holy Spirit? Well, you got to sit down. A lot of times you're in your thinking mind and you're thinking that, hey, this is what I'm supposed to do, but is that what God told you to do? And that's a difference. Is it what God told you to do, or is it what you feel like you should do? And sometimes your feeling is a starting place, but then if you're really, really trying to get into that place of your grace zone where your gifts shine the most, you need to create space to hear God. And many of us, we hear God in different ways. It's not just an oral thing like Moses heard by mouth. But there's others that we hear through synchronistic messages. Like it's like things keep on, you keep hearing this message, the pastor preached it, somebody gave you a prophetic word, you thought it, and so there's some synchronicity type things that's lining up for you. So that's God trying to get your attention. He speaks through the word of God, and so you got to create space to hear. And I promise you, it'll just start snapping if you allow space for it to snap. So there's audible, there's emotional. So if he may be speaking to you through your emotions. For me, when I'm not being obedient and I'm getting all like, I'm trying to hear God and I know God is giving me an instruction and I try to be disobedient, I get a headache. And it's like this direct quick headache, and I can't get rid of the headache. And so that God is trying to get my attention, and he's showing me, hey, you're trying to walk in your will and not in my will. And then so I think I've covered oral. I've covered he speaks visually, so that could be like synchronistic messages, or like written or whatever. Emotional, and then also he speaks to your just mental awareness. Sometimes it's these things where you just know that you know that you know, but you didn't even know that how you knew what you knew, but it just dropped down into your spirit. But you'll know it's God because his thoughts are higher than your thoughts and his ways is higher than our ways. And so you'll know if it's just God. It's like we'll say it's a divine download. If it's bigger than you and you knew that you couldn't have thought of it on your best day. And so you got to first understand, like, okay, so what are my gifts? You start there by understanding that. Once you understand what your gifts are, then you got to figure out what's going to be that right fit business model to put those gifts in, because you could put it in anything, right? So but is that going to be the place that it's going to thrive at? So it could be that, it's like putting a cactus in the wrong environment, and when it really thrives in the desert, you could put it in another environment where it's super swampy and super all these things, and it just gets it's not going to grow how it was designed to grow. And so the same is true for our gifts. So if we want our gifts to make room for them, we have to put them in the right room for them to grow to their full capacity. And then we have to create space in our hearts and our minds for them to grow at the level that they need to grow. And so that means not only is it in the right business model, but then are you investing, are you feeding that gift what it needs for it to continue to grow into its highest level of possibility? So a tree can't thrive without receiving the right nourishment of water, sunshine, and everything else. And so if you're not doing the same thing for your gifts and like giving it the nutrients, the water, the sunshine, the coaching, the whatever else, the community that it needs, because listen, I'm giving you a lot of biblical principles, because it says that iron sharpens iron sharpens iron. And so when we think about that, that means your gifts are being edified by other people in your community. So the moment that you're trying to play small, then your community members who are like-minded like you, they're going to call you up and say, you know what, Dawn, you're playing small. Like, I see you, you know that that's not God's best for you. And then you give you some truth and love, like Paul did Timothy, and say, hey, you're operating from a spirit of timidity. God's resources that he's given us, we come from a way bigger wealth of kingdom resources. And so you need to tap into power, love, and sound mind. And so if you really want your gifts to thrive, it needs that community. It needs you to make the right investments. Is there something that you need to learn, know, or do to make yourself a little bit better, a little bit stronger, and a little bit more positioned? And then the last thing I would say, the Bible tells us that we are the light of the world, like a city set on a hilltop. And so if you're really positioning your gifts, you're giving yourself the opportunity to be visible enough for your gifts to shine. Many of us are hiding our gifts under a basket, and out of shame, out of doubt, out of confusion, out of all these different things, when reality, we need to put those gifts, take them from under the basket, put them up on the light, what do I want to say, on a mountain, lampstand, whatever you want to, because there's levels to it. I will say there's levels. If I had to start at the mountaintop, like, child, I wouldn't even get out and do it. Just put me on the desk for a second and let my little light shine. And so that's a start, though. At least it wasn't under the basket. And so many of us haven't given ourselves a permission for our light to shine. And if we are if we're allowing our light to shine, then we're like, I'm still struggling. Well, maybe God is trying to get your attention for you to allow that light to shine even bigger and even brighter. Because when your light shines, then you're casting out darkness. And the more people that you're able to serve and cast out darkness, then you give it, it'll be given back to you, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Zig Ziglar says that if you help enough people get what they want, then you will get what you want and what you need. And so maybe you haven't helped enough people get what they want. You are positioning your gift as a lighthouse. Does that make sense? Coach Don, I'm going to let you do some talking. You're on mute.
I'm like, absolutely. Oh my gosh, that was so much, you guys. That in and of itself was worth the price of admission. So I hope you guys were taking notes for sure, because, as you were talking, Coach LaDondra, about aligning yourself with your gifts and your God-given gifts, right? And the things that he has for you, you would never know it. That would never come to you in the natural. And those are the times when the pit of your stomach is like, are you for real, Lord? Like, am I supposed to be doing that? Right. And, going back to Moses, he had the same thing. Like, are you sure you're picking me, Lord? Are you talking to me to go before Pharaoh and, tell him to release all these slaves? He would have never done that. But look what happened because of his obedience. So it is super important to have those spiritual gifts, to know that you're listening, you're being obedient, then you're taking the steps. One of the questions in here, or concerns that one of our people had, is consistency. And that's the thing, is obedience and consistency kind of go hand in hand, right? Because if you're consistently doing what you need to do, what God has put in your spirit to do, and you're just consistently walking it out, consistently showing up, consistently shining your light, even like Coach LaDondra said, shine it just a little bit. If you need to just crack the curtains open just a little bit to let it shine through, then start there, because she's right. Nobody starts at the mountaintop. Okay. We all have levels to go, and showing up consistently, even when you're scared, is super important. Super important. I can tell you, Coach LaDondra's been there. I've been there. The women in our Woke Next Level program have been there. And you guys, when we see what they're doing now after just being in the program a few short months, it is unbelievable how they're showing up and how their light is shining and how much results they're achieving right now, not just financially, which they are up leveling financially, but their confidence is growing. They're connecting with their right audience. It is really amazing to see them and the progress that they've made just from being consistent and having mentorship. Right. Another person on here did talk about, needing a business mentor. It's so important to surround yourself with the right community and to be in alignment with a group of women operating Kingdom Enterprises, which is who we are here, to really help you see what it is that you're missing. Right? We all go at business with a heart to serve, to get our service or product out to the masses because we believe in it. We believe in it. We know it makes a difference. But when you just have no idea what to do next, that can trip you up. And that's where a lot of people just stay stuck. They stay stuck. They're like, well, I really don't know what to do next. I have all these ideas. We work with a lot of big visionaries. I have all these ideas and they're so good, but then they get tripped up not being focused in on the one thing that they need to focus in on right now in order to gain traction. And you guys, it's like that debt snowball, okay? You pay off the smallest debt first so you can get that quick win. And then you put that amount of money that you were paying on that one to the next largest, right? You just keep going up and it grows and it grows and it grows. That's what it's like coming in here and having a business mentor to help you focus in on that one thing so that it gains traction. And then as it's rolling, gaining traction, we're like, okay, now you can add this next thing that is next in the pipeline, right? Add that. Then your snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but it's like getting bigger as far as increase, right? You're increasing in the good, right? Not the debt. The debt is decreasing and everything else is increasing. So Coach LaDondra, what are you saying about that? I'll turn it back to you.
No, that's great. That's great stuff. Making those incremental, I'm going to say micro progress, and taking small steps, little by little. And over time, what will happen is you move from a place of feeling like you had to be confident in a thing, like, oh, I had to know this. I had to know. Listen, that's a lie from hell that keeps us stuck and feeling like I need to know all the answers. That's not true. That's why we're connected to the vine, to Jesus Christ, who is that vine. He is the source that gives us the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding to do the things that we need to do. So if that's why it's important to shift our thinking from the world's way to lining up with the word, because the world will tell us that you better know all that, you better not. That's why the enemy told Eve, hey, eat of the fruit from the tree of knowledge. Like, you need more knowledge, you need more of this, because if you don't have it, like, what are you going to do? She had everything. She had access to everything. And see, we have to get from a lack mentality of feeling like I don't have or I need more of, and really start to really understand what's already available. Because what's already available is already powerful. And many of you are not using what's already available. Hey, Deborah, so good to see you, sis. Because I've been wondering, like, who is these comments? I logged in, girl, because I had to see. Hey, Deborah. Hey, Patricia. Hey, Tazara. Whoever else is on here, hey, because it's different platforms that y'all are coming in at. But yeah, so we really have to, and when we put that pressure on ourselves, feeling like I have to know everything, then we're starting to wear a burden that we were never designed to wear. And he tells us to cast our cares, cast our burdens on him. And then, and then when I say cast our burdens, I want to refer us to one of our foundational scriptures, and for woke, it's Proverbs 16:3, which tells us to commit your works into the Lord. We say commit our businesses, but commit your works into the Lord, and he will establish your plans. When you look up the word works in the Greek interpretation, is to I meant to commit, I said works, is to roll your burdens over to Christ. And so that means for us is we're rolling the burden of feeling like I gotta know it all. We'll see, if he called me, I'm already equipped for it. So I just need to roll that burden of me feeling like I gotta know, and just start drawing from the wealth of wisdom that's already on the inside of me. Because see, scripture tells us that he gives us the power to create wealth. And so if he gives us the power to create wealth, it's already in us. We just got to create space for it to come through us. And we got to understand who we are, whose we are, and what's available to us. And see, when we understand that, we are unstoppable. Unstoppable. And like literally, I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to save that. I'm saving that for the conference, and I'm saving some of it for the Wealth Code, because there's some really good stuff that's coming your way. Come to the first and foremost, for those of you who have not signed up, make sure that you signed up for the free 5-day generational wealth code for next week. It's starting next week, 12 Central Time, and it'll be in the Facebook group. For those of you who are in the Facebook group, you're already there, but what you do need to do is you need to register. When you register, that'll let us know that you are participating, and we will connect you with a power partner who will walk alongside of you, that's on our team, who will walk alongside of you, answer your questions, and walk with you and hold you accountable during the week. But I'm going to be helping you to break out of those mediocrity, and from those places where you've been conforming in your thinking, and you're thinking from a lower level, and you're working harder. I'm going to teach you how to work higher. And when you're working higher, then you're connecting to the source, which again makes all things possible. Christ makes all things possible. And a lot of times we're listening, we're reading the word, but we really don't understand how to apply the word into our business. So it's like, how do I be a kingdom builder or a faith-based entrepreneur? Well, you got to tap in, and then there's ways and there's strategies that you can really tap in, so you can move from that position. And then the second thing is those people who have been saying, I need to be help being visible. Well, guess what? I'm going to have some strategies to help you to get visible, because it does nobody good for you to be the best kept secret that on the wealth coach or health coach or whatever. Listen, this says, let your light still shine. And then it ends, because I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but then it ends, so that your Father in heaven will be glorified. Many of us have these false humility type things going on. Well, I don't want to be bragging. Well, I get you, sis. Been there, done that. I don't want to be seen. I don't like being seen. And I still to this day, like, we were trying to figure out a whole banner situation. I'm like, I just don't want to face on stuff. And like all of that, I've made it about me. And see, that's a lot of our issues when it comes to putting ourselves out there, and even making the sales and the connections, because sales is about making a connection. And if you can't get past yourself, then you can't connect with the person on the other end that needs your service, to hear them enough to hear what their problem is, because you're so focused on what you're not, what you can't do, who is better than you, and all this stuff. You got to shut down the noise so that you can step into that stronger, more empowered, powerful version of yourself, and start to really operate as a woman operating a kingdom enterprise. And you start to say, what happens is, as you shift from a place of performance-based thinking and behaviors, and you shift into a place of power, which says, I am powerful because I'm connected to power, number one. Two, into a position of love that says, you know what, this is not about me. This is about the person who needs me to show up in my gifts, because my gifts are not for me. God has called me to multiply that which is on the inside of me, not for me to go and hoard it. Because when we look at the parable of the talents, the one who went and buried his gifts, like many of us are burying our gifts, then he took it from him. And so you don't want your to be taken from you. And where you see somebody else doing it, how can you times have you seen somebody that it was your idea, but then some months later you see them doing it? Well, guess what, sis? You didn't steward it well. So God said, I got to get this out here. Somebody out here, they really need this. So if you won't speak, I'll let the donkey speak for us. And so, and literally a donkey spoke in the Bible. So he's going to use the willing vessel who is available. Are you available for transformation to come through you? Are you available to show up with a spirit of love and say, you know what, like I'm afraid, but but you know what, I'm gonna keep going and I'm gonna trust God and I'm gonna allow His power to empower me as I keep taking steps in faith. And over time, you be consistent, like Coach Don was talking about, then it becomes a little easier and a little easier and a little easier. And maybe may or may not dissipate, but what I will tell you is it will no longer govern your decisions. You will start to understand that I don't have to operate from this lower level, that I can operate from a higher level. And when you operate from that higher level, you may feel the fear at first, but once you get into it, you'll start to feel fulfillment. Instead of that, you'll start to, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was able to show up and really help that woman who was on the brink of suicide. And just because I said something, it really spoke to the deep innermost parts of where she was in her situation. And now there's a whole different scenario. There's something new that's coming forth from her. Her confidence is different. She has a new aura about her. She wants to live. And now that she's living, her children is going to live. And they're going to see that if mama can do it, they can do it. And she breaks the curse off of them of that depression and that feeling like I don't have to live or I can't live anymore or there's nothing for me. And she creates something new that's going to outlive her. And so that's what the enemy is after. He's after that's within you. Because if he can snatch it from you, he can snatch it from your kids and he can snatch it from your kids. And so we got to take back ground and we got to take back territory. Y'all are getting way more than what so Coach Don, there you go.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, y'all, she put a lot out there for real, for real. I'm gonna bring it down to a couple of points and then we're gonna get out of here because we do have our clients waiting on the other side. You talked about the parable of the talents, right? The people that were entrusted to the master, right, for his talents to be given to them. The one that hid it, his got taken away. The one the two that invested, there's doubled. Okay. Sis, have you made the right investment? That's what I want to ask you for this upcoming challenge. Is completely free. No investment necessary at all other than your time and your willingness to come in and to be poured in. You can see right here from this 20-minute lunch bite, like LaDondra has so much. And the Wealth Code Challenge, the Generational Wealth Code Challenge, it is about breaking those generational cycles that she just talked about, because we don't want you to stay stuck and for you to feel, right, probably what your parents felt in not being able to get done what they wanted to get done, their hopes or dreams or aspirations, right? And then for that to pass on to your children, no, we're not having that. That's what this whole movement is about, is helping you to break those generational cycles that have been preventing you and your family, your lineage for years, right? There's all different things. It's not just about money. It's mindset. It's health. It's spirituality. It's so many things that whatever you can think of that is holding you back, it's time to break that off. And so we're doing that in the conference, which is different than the challenge coming up, but we wanted to bring you this Wealth Code Challenge so that you can get your mind right in order to get to the conference, in order to really be ready to receive that generational bondage breaker that we're going to have in the conference. So ladies, I'm just going to put it out there, like this Generational Wealth Code Challenge, it starts on Monday, every day at noon, Monday through Friday next week. You will want to be present, and you will want other women that you know need to be there. Bring them along, because it's not good to go it alone. Okay. We're not here to do business, life, anything alone. And why not position yourself with the right people? How many of you have family members that look at you like you're crazy because you're the big visionary, right? And oh, we've never done that before in our family. No one's ever done that before. Who are you to think that you could do that? How many of you have heard that, right? And some people listen to that and they stop themselves. They're like, well, they're right. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. No, if God has put that in your spirit to do, then that's what you're supposed to be doing. So in this Wealth Code Challenge, we are going to help you get positioned to break that mentality, that generational curse, so that you can go forward and be who God called you to be. So sis, come to the challenge. I put the link up there. You guys get registered so that we know you're coming, and get you connected with your power partner. I've reached out personally to some of you already this morning, and excited to be your power partner, excited to walk with you on this journey next week. It's going to be amazing. I just can't even tell you how amazing it's going to be. So register for the challenge. We will see you on the other side on Monday. Bring your female business owner friends, your besties, your power sisters, because we need to do this together. No woman left behind. That's my hashtag. No woman left behind.
None. Yes, yes. What Coach Don said. So we'll see y'all on the other side. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.